Welcome back to Beyond the Known.
Always great to be diving into another topic.
Last time, we really went down a rabbit hole with time travel stories, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely. Some really compelling ones.
We talked about Sergei Ponomarev, Sir Robert Victor Goddard,
Zia Vertov, Paul Amadeus Dynak.
Yeah, quite the mix.
Right. Accounts that really made you wonder, even if they ended up being, well, debunked or just speculation.
Exactly. It highlighted that line between belief and skepticism, and why these stories just capture our imagination.
Which kind of leads us nicely into today's deep dive. We're shifting gears, but staying in that realm of the wonderfully unexpected.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What have we got?
We're talking about the world's strangest museums.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Beyond the usual art and history. The niche stuff.
Exactly. Those places dedicated to the bizarre, the unique, the things you didn't even know someone would collect.
It really makes you think about human curiosity, doesn't it? What drives people to preserve, like, anything? That's what we want to unpack. We've done the research, taken a virtual tour, and we're going to look at some of the weirdest and most wonderful collections out there.
And explore what they tell us about obsession, memory, how we see the world. Sounds fascinating.
Ready for the first stop?
Let's do it.
All right, first up, we're heading to Zagreb, Croatia, the Museum of Broken Relationships.
Yes. This one's quite well known, actually.
Yeah.
Very poignant concept.
It really is. Started back in 2006 by a couple who had broken up.
Right, and the whole collection is just objects donated by people after their breakups.
Exactly. But the key thing is each object comes with a story, a little explanation from the donor about what it meant, why it's here.
That's what makes it so powerful, I think. It's not just stuff, it's relics of relationships. Love, loss.
Totally. Our research mentioned things like a toaster, apparently a shared gift.
Mundane things that become loaded with meaning.
Or, get this, an axe used to destroy furniture after a breakup.
Wow. Okay, that's cathartic, maybe? Intense, definitely.
Yeah. And letters, clothes, trinkets. Oh, and a steel horseshoe.
A horseshoe?
Yeah. The story was the donor kept setting off airport security alarms trying to get it to the museum, had to keep explaining it was a symbol of a failed relationship.
That's quite the metaphor for carrying baggage, isn't it?
Yeah. They've apparently received over 3,500 donations, though only about 90 are displayed at once.
And they have traveling exhibits too, right? Shows how universal heartbreak is.
Sadly, yes. The founders call it a shelter for love, preserving these stories.
A space for acknowledging that pain and moving on. It's a lovely idea.
Visitors can also write in a book of confessions, and it's inspired others, like a museum of failure, apparently.
Interesting ripple effect. Okay, where next? Something less heartbreaking.
Let's hope so. We're off to New Delhi, India, the Sulabh International Museum of Toilets.
Toilets. Okay, definitely shifting gears.
Right, but it's actually pretty fascinating. Founded in 1992 by Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak.
It covers the whole history.
Pretty much. Chronological display from 2500 BCE right up to modern times. It tracks the history of sanitation.
Which is, incredibly important history, even if we don't think about it much.
Exactly. Our research mentioned a replica of King Louis XIV's throne commode.
Very fancy.
Medieval chamber pots, ancient techniques. It really shows the evolution.
And it makes a serious point too, right? About hygiene, public health. Especially relevant in India.
Definitely. It's got a real social commentary angle, using history to talk about sanitation needs today.
A museum with a mission. Good stuff. Okay, what's after toilets?
Let's lighten things up. Massachusetts, USA. The Museum of Bad Art. MOBA.
Oh, I love MOBA. Art too bad to be ignored.
That's their tagline. Founded in '93, it's dedicated to art that, well, missed the mark spectacularly.
But it's done with affection, almost. It's not just mocking people.
No, it seems to celebrate the sincerity of the attempt, even if the execution is questionable.
Yeah, like misproportioned portraits, weird still lifes.
Misunderstood expressionism, as they call it.
Huh, love it.
And apparently, they're quite selective. No kids' art, no mass-produced stuff. It has to be a genuine artistic effort gone wrong.
That's key, I think. The earnest failure.
And the labels are hilarious. They write these funny interpretations for each piece.
It's art appreciation with a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, prepare yourself. We're going to Tokyo, Japan, the Meguro Parasitological Museum.
Oh, boy. Parasites. The only museum in the world dedicated just to them.
Yep. Founded in 1953 by Dr. Satoru Kamegai, they have something like 60,000 specimens.
Wow. Though only 300 on display, thankfully.
Maybe thankfully, yeah. Needs a strong stomach, perhaps.
Probably. But scientifically fascinating, you have to admit, learning about this hidden world.
The star exhibit apparently is an 8.8-meter long tapeworm.
8.8 meters, good grief.
The story is it came from a man after he ate some contaminated sashimi.
Right, note to self.
Yeah.
Careful with the sashimi.
They also show parasitic worms and fish, lots of educational stuff about life cycles, their role in the ecosystem.
It's important knowledge, even if it's a bit unsettling, understanding the whole picture.
And funny story, visitor numbers apparently shot up after Bill Gates tweeted about the giant tapeworm.
The Bill Gates effect.
Yeah.
Who knew he was into parasites?
Stranger things happen, I guess. Okay, let's move to something. Hairy. Avanos, Turkey. The Avanos Hair Museum.
Hair, like locks of hair.
Thousands of them. Over 16,000 women have apparently donated locks of hair. It's in a cave, part of a pottery shop.
Okay, how did that start?
Our research says it began in 1979. The potter, Galip Kuruksu, had a friend leaving town. She left a lock of hair as a memento.
And then other people just started doing it.
Yep. Saw the first lock, heard the story, added their own. Now the cave walls are covered. Each lock is labeled with name and address.
That's incredibly personal. The tapestry of individuals.
And they have this tradition. Twice a year, a visitor picks 10 locks at random.
And then what?
They try to contact the women and invite them back for a free stay and pottery classes.
Wow, that's lovely, connecting back across time and distance.
Yeah. Photography isn't allowed inside, keeps it intimate. The founder sees it as a symbol of world peace.
All these women from everywhere sharing this space. I can see that. Especially since, didn't that other hair museum in the U.S. close?
Layla's Hair Museum in Missouri, yeah. Closed in 2021. Makes Avanos even more unique.
Amazing story.
Yeah.
Okay, from hair to noodles.
Precisely. Osaka, Japan. The Cup Noodles Museum.
Celebrating instant ramen. I can get behind that.
Right. Opened in 2011, celebrates the inventor Momofuku Ando.
The man, the legend. Chicken ramen, cup noodles.
Even space ramen for astronauts. The museum explores his creative process.
It's meant to be quite interactive and inspiring, isn't it?
Totally. They have the instant ramen history cube showing all the products.
Yeah.
And the Maisia Pea Noodles factory.
Where you make your own. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Design your own cup, choose flavors, and a chicken ramen factory, too. Hands-on experience really shows the cultural impact.
From a simple idea to a global phenomenon. Cool museum.
Okay, let's take a darker turn again. Amsterdam Torture Museum.
Oof. Yeah, that one sounds intense. Medieval devices.
Exactly. Located in a townhouse, displays instruments of torture, explains their historical context in Justice and Punishment, dimly lit, confronting images.
It's grim, but important history, I suppose. Shows how far we've hopefully come in terms of justice. Or aim to, anyway.
It explains the methods used to punish or get confessions. Definitely not for everyone.
No, I imagine not. Right, let's maybe move away from torture.
Agreed. How about clowns? Baraboo, Wisconsin. The International Clown Hall of Fame and Research Center.
Clowns, okay. Potentially less grim. Maybe slightly unsettling for some.
Possibly. But it's about preserving the art of clowning, honoring famous clowns.
Costumes, props, photos, history.
Exactly. They induct new members each year. For 2025, our research mentioned names like George Carl, Bellowknock, even Dick Van Dyke got a Lifetime of Laughter award.
Dick Van Dyke. Makes sense. He brought so much joy. It shows a range of clowning. It's a real art form.
We even have a blog for enthusiasts. Okay, staying in the U.S., Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. Vent Haven Museum.
Ventriloquism. The only museum just for that.
Apparently so. Founded by William Shakespeare Berger, started collecting in the 1910s, museum opened in 73.
And how many? Dummies. Figures.
Over 900. Plus photos, playbills, memorabilia. It's a huge archive.
Wow. Seeing 900 pairs of glassy eyes staring back, that must be an experience.
They hold the annual convention there, too, a real hub for the community.
Very niche, very dedicated. Okay, where to next?
Bangkok, Thailand, Siraj Medical Museum, also known as the Museum of Death.
Right, another medical one. Sounds pretty graphic.
Very. Packed with specimens of unusual conditions, cross-section torsos, malformed fetuses. It's located in Siraj Hospital.
Primarily an educational tool for medical students, I assume.
That seems to be the main purpose, yeah. A very direct look at human pathology.
Understandable, but definitely confronting for the average visitor.
Absolutely. Similar vein, let's go to Philadelphia, USA. The Mutter Museum.
The Mutter. Very famous, very historical. Lots of anatomical specimens.
Founded way back in 1858. Exhibits include conjoined twins, slices of Einstein's brain.
Deformed skulls, preserved tumors. It's quite the collection.
It really is, and they grapple with the ethics of displaying human remains, which is important.
Yeah, that post-mortem project. They argue it's educational, makes us confront mortality.
Which is a valid point, I think. It shows medical history, the progress made. It's thought-provoking, if unsettling.
Definitely leaves an impression. Okay,
Yeah.
let's cross the Atlantic again. Paris.
Yep, Paris, Museum of Vampires and Legendary Creatures.
Ooh, vampires.
Yeah.
A small, dedicated museum.
Exactly. Curated by Jacques Sergent, a scholar of the macabre. Focuses on vampires, folklore, the occult, especially in Paris.
Sounds atmospheric. And research-based, not just schlocky.
Seems so. Our research even mentioned a vampire slaying kit on display.
Okay, that adds to the vibe. Nice. Something sweeter now.
Let's do it. Near Bologna, Italy. The Gelato Museum Carpigiani.
Gelato, finally. Something delicious.
Right. Located at the HQ of Carpigiani, the gelato machine makers. All about the history and culture of ice cream.
Even gelato gets a museum. Love it.
And it's linked to their Gelato University, where you can learn to make it.
Study gelato in Italy. Sounds like a dream job.
Doesn't it? Okay, back to the UK. Stockport. British Lawnmower Museum.
Lawnmowers. Seriously.
Seriously, over 300 models, some 200 years old? Even ones owned by celebrities?
Wow. I guess everything has a history. The gardening equivalent of train spotting, maybe?
That's exactly what our research called it. Huh. Okay, also in the UK, Kent, the Dog Collar Museum.
Dog collars.
Yeah.
Inside Leeds Castle.
Yep. Over 130 rare collars spanning 5 centuries, some made of gold, jewels.
Shows the history of dog ownership, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
How we value our pets. Fancy collars.
Pretty fancy. Okay, time to go underwater. Cancun, New Mexico. MUSA, the Underwater Museum of Art.
Ah, this is incredible. Sculptures on the seabed.
Over 500 of them, mostly life-size, by
Uh-huh.
Jason DeCaires Taylor and others.
And they're made of special clay, right? To
Yeah.
become artificial reefs.
Exactly, pH neutral. Marine life grows on them. Art meets ecology. National Geographic called it a wonder of the world.
Amazing concept. Beautiful and beneficial.
Right. Okay, back to dry land. Houston, USA. National Museum of Funeral History.
Funeral history. Okay. Sounds comprehensive.
Largest collection of funeral objects in America. Covers practices worldwide Vatican funerals, Dia de los Muertos. Ozzy Osbourne is apparently a fan.
Ozzy. Well, that's an endorsement. It explores how different cultures handle death and remembrance.
Exactly. Now, Baltimore, USA. National Museum of Dentistry.
Teeth. We haven't done teeth yet.
Nope. Over 40,000 items. Ancient Egyptian jawbones, Queen Victoria's dental tools.
George Washington's false teeth. The famous ones?
Those two. A whole history of drilling and filling.
Fascinating. In a slightly wince-inducing way.
Huh. Yeah. Okay, heading west. Felton, California. The Sasquatch Outpost.
Bigfoot. Of course, there's a Bigfoot museum.
Dedicated to the research, the evidence, the legends. Seems kind of fun, educational, but maybe not taking itself too seriously.
For the believers and the curious, gotta love the dedication.
Then Monroe, Connecticut. Oh, Warren's Occult Museum.
The Warrens. Ed and Lorraine. Very spooky stuff.
Supposedly haunted objects, satanic ritual items, voodoo stuff,
Yeah.
and the Annabelle doll inspiration.
Yeah, that's the big one. Definitely for fans of the paranormal or horror movies.
For sure. Then Austin, Texas. Museum of the Weird.
Aptly named. What kind of weird?
All sorts. Two-headed lamb, Fiji mermaid, shrunken heads, mummies, horror wax figures. A real cabinet of curiosities.
Just a collection of oddities from everywhere. Sounds very Austin.
Seems like it. Okay, back to Paris for a few. First, the Museum of Sewers.
Exploring the Paris underground. The history of the sewer system.
From the 13th century onwards, you can see old equipment, learn how it all works beneath the city.
Vital infrastructure, often ignored. Cool to see it get museum status.
Also underground in Paris, the catacombs.
Millions of skeletons, the ossuary.
Moved from overcrowded cemeteries in the 18th century. Macabre, but a huge tourist draw.
A stark reminder of history beneath your feet.
Back above ground, Musée de la Chasse et de la Nature. Hunting and nature.
This one sounds surprisingly artistic, though. Taxidermy presented theatrically.
Yeah, and it advocates for respectful hunting, wildlife preservation, eco-consciousness. Housed in old mansions.
An interesting mixed nature art ethics.
Then, near Paris, Musée Fragonard Delfour at the vet school.
Oh, the anatomical one.
With the écorché.
The flayed figures, yes.
Yeah.
Prepared by Honoré Fragonard. Very striking, very graphic anatomical models. Mostly animals, but some human ones remain.
Historically important for anatomy, but
Yeah.
Intense.
And still in Paris, not quite a museum, but day roll.
The taxidermy shop, like a cabinet of curiosities you can buy from.
High-end taxidermy, entomology, popular with artists, designers, just visually stunning, apparently.
A place of wonder for sure.
Okay, Mexico again. Guanajuato, the momias de Guanajuato.
The naturally mummified bodies.
Exactly. Exhumed from the cemetery starting in 1865 because of unpaid burial taxes. The soil conditions just preserved them.
It's eerie because it wasn't intentional. Just chemistry and time. Over 100 mummies.
Including mummified babies, the Angelitos, in one section. It's quite famous, featured in films. Very unique. Very unsettling. Okay, one last stop.
Last one. Rotherham, UK. The Haunted Objects Museum.
More haunted stuff. What's the focus here?
Allegedly cursed artifacts. Explores folklore, fear. Features the cursed bride doll.
So diving right into the belief that objects can be active?
Malevolent.
Pretty much a tangible encounter with things that go bump in the night, or are said to.
Right. Well, that's quite a tour.
It really is. From broken hearts to tapeworms to lawnmowers to mummies, the range is just incredible.
It really says something about what humans find fascinating, what we feel is worth keeping and showing.
Absolutely. Some are deeply personal, some scientific, some just wonderfully strange. Which ones stick out to you?
Oh, man. The Mutter always intrigues me, the history and the ethics. The Hair Museum is just so unique, and MUSA, the underwater one, is beautiful. You?
The Parasite Museum, just for the sheer audacity of that tapeworm. And maybe the Museum of Bad Art, for the humor. It makes you think, which ones would you actually want to visit?
And which ones might you need a bit of courage for? Exactly. But they all offer these unique windows, don't they, into culture, science, history, just the weird corners of the human experience.
Definitely educational, definitely thought-provoking. Memorable, for sure.
And it makes you wonder, what other bizarre little museums are out there? What else are people collecting in sheds and caves and basements?
There must be countless others. A reminder that curiosity can lead anywhere.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this rather eclectic deep dive.
It's been fascinating, truly. A weird and wonderful journey.
If you enjoyed exploring the strange side of museums with us, please do like, follow, subscribe. It really helps us keep doing these explorations.
We appreciate the support, folks.
Until next time, stay curious.